Thank you,
Thank-
Rebecca, and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, all of our Daisy Iowa partners. I just want to take a minute to kick off this event by welcoming you and really thanking you for the work you do to create and sustain meaningful recognition in your organizations. Really, without your help, your passion, your dedication, none of this would be possible. You are enabling nurses in your community and around the world receive positive feedback from patients, families, and colleagues. And we hear from nurses all the time that their nominations fill up their cup, re-energize them, and validate the work they do and the difference that they are making every day. So on behalf of the Barnes family and all of us here at the Daisy Foundation, thank you for supporting this culture of ongoing gratitude. Whether you are a longtime seasoned Daisy coordinator, fairly new to your role, or maybe brand new, I know you will find the Roundtable today insightful and inspiring. Today is all about sharing best practices, sharing ideas, networking, asking questions, answering questions to ensure that you have all of the tools and information you need to make your Daisy program the best it can be for your nurses. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to participate in this event. And without further ado, I will turn it back over to Rebecca Blay, who's your day-to-day contact here at Daisy to get us going on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. We appreciate you so much for being here and sharing with us your portion of Daisy. We will have two presenters today where they will each share their story about Daisy, and we will also have a breakout session for you all to talk with other Daisy coordinators in facilities similar to yours and ask questions. A few housekeeping items. Please feel free to chat with each other and everyone in the chat box. If you have a specific question, you can place it in there. If you would also like to share your email address in case we need to email you a response, that would be wonderful. Also, please stay muted during our presentation and unmute during the breakout room discussions. We will be recording in the main room, so you may choose to turn off your camera at any time, but please do turn it back on when you enter into the breakout rooms and discuss with fellow coordinators. Next, I would like to introduce my co-host for today, Sarah Eisman. Sarah is the Experience Officer and Daisy Coordinator for Iowa Specialty Hospitals and Clinics. Iowa Specialty Hospitals and Clinics have been a part of the Daisy program since 2021, and they currently present 4 awards per year and 1 Nurse Leader Award. Thank you, Sarah.
Hello. I am going to share my screen here. So let me just get that going. Okay, everybody see it okay? Do I get a thumbs up? Awesome. Well, thank you, Rebecca. Yes, I'm Sarah Eisman. I'm an Experience Officer here at Iowa Specialty Hospital. I've been here for a little over 3 years, and I worked for another healthcare agency before this for 17 years, and also got to participate in helping with the Daisy program at my last organization as well. It's a little smidgen about Iowa Specialty Hospital, so you can kind of see how we have our Daisy program over our areas within Iowa. We have a hospital in both Belmont and Clarion. We have acute care, and we also have clinics, specialty family practice within there. We also have clinics in Hampton, Garner, Webster City, Fort Dodge, Des Moines, Clear Lake, Rockwell, Ames, Boone, and we also have a senior living, independent and assisted living here in Clarion. We partner with Iowa Weight Loss, so we have nurses there, as well as Gabrielson Clinic and our orthopedic specialists also. So quite a wide variety of different services that we offer. And so we have nurses that are assisting patients and caring for patients all over Iowa. So we're very fortunate for that, which I think gives us a great opportunity to have the Daisy program. So a little bit just about myself and how far I go back into the Daisy program. And it's actually great that we have Unity Point here. I think it's super sweet. So I gave birth to my daughter. She was premature, And so we got to spend some glorious weeks at Blaine Children's Hospital when she was born. And so when I was discharged, I knew the Daisy existed because we had it at our hospital and I assisted with that. And so I looked up the Daisy program and got to nominate, her name is Julie Care, and I got to nominate her. I was actually invited to Unity Point to read my nomination. And so I got to go, and of course I was like not a dry eye. I was a blubbering hormonal new mom mess, but I got to read my story about how Julie, our primary nurse in the NICU, made my experience as a new mom very special for us. And so you know, that kind of really made a positive impact on me, and how much I appreciated just the story of Daisy and what it stands for and what it represents, and how it gives not only nurses opportunities for recognition, but also as patients on the other side of the spectrum, an opportunity to share that appreciation. So when I came to Iowa Specialty in 2021, we did not have the Daisy program. And as the experience officer and the person really responsible for a lot of the service components, this was a perfect opportunity for me to bring Daisy into our organization. And right after COVID, I thought that it fit really nicely to be able to start showing our nurses another form of recognition and appreciation. So to date, we have approximately 220 nurses nominated. We're not a huge organization. We're like 700 to 800 employees. So the fact that we've had that many nominations, I think, is really nice to have. It really has spread the awareness of the Daisy program through all of our clinics and our hospitals. And we've also awarded 2 Daisy leaders as well during that time. A little bit about how we do our nominations. So if you've started a Daisy program, you are probably used to just growing it as you go along. I've got a lot of my information from my past organization, but also like the Facebook groups and the online information has always been a really good resource. And I stay up to date on some of the newer awards and different opportunities to kind of blend that with what we do for our nurses. We started a discharge project this year to improve our HCAP scores because information upon discharge was a huge opportunity for us. And so we started traditional discharge folders. So within those discharge folders, we slip in this little picture here is a little card, like a business card. We also have flyers as well. So sometimes we'll slip in the flyers, and they have a QR code on them. That is primarily where we get all our nominations, is actually through the QR code. So when a patient scans that or goes to our website and does a submission, it's electronic. So we actually have a team of employees that work virtually, that one of their assigned duties is to help create those nominations on like Daisy but Daisy printed letterhead and our certificates as well. And then we have in-house employees that help get those printed off and pinned to them and then distributed to the leaders. So there's lots of hands that help touch that and ensure that that's successful. We have these business cards throughout our waiting rooms. Some of the exam rooms have chosen to have them also. So if a patient is kind of sitting waiting between nurse and provider, they can grab a little card. We also have them, usually it's like an 8x11 poster display in the exam rooms. We're very thoughtful about signage in our hospital. It's something we've worked on because signage can really kind of create that, we want our patients to read the signs that we want them to read. So we try not to post things up on the walls. They get lost, but we love using the little signage, like the little, it's basically like an 8x11, like photo frame, pretty inexpensive. You can get them at dollar store and stuff. And then we have our marketing team print out nice, colorful, did a Daisy nurse wow you today with the QR codes. Those sit nicely in the waiting rooms on the end tables, you know, while patients are kind of sitting in there. So be thoughtful about where our patients might be waiting or in a transition point for good places to promote your Daisy. I would steer clear of like hallways or doors because those are thoroughfares and people aren't really paying attention to that stuff. So just be mindful about where you're putting your marketing materials to help catch patients. Like I said, the discharge folders work well. Our surgery team probably gets the most nominations, and they clip their Daisy card with every single discharge, like post-op discharge instructions. So they get the most nominations, but they work at it too. So it's nice to get some advocates within your clinics and your departments that are nurses that help make sure their teammates are successful. Our clinics also have the business cards. We also have them on the website, as well as some of our waiting rooms have TVs, and some of the TVs will just play regular TV while other TVs will play kind of ads. And so we have our Daisy award winners up there, but also we have the information about the Daisy play on those slides as well. We do keep track of all of our Daisy winners. Every quarter, I will send a list of all the nominations for that quarter to 2 of our board members who were actually nurses, and one of them used to be our past CEO. So they read all of the nominations and send me their thoughts as maybe the top 1 or 2. Every single quarter, I've been lucky. They usually have one person that they pick as the same person. So I haven't had to draw names out of the hat. It's fit really nice to be able to have that nomination. And then as far as who's involved in, how we award those, each person that gets nominated gets a certificate and a pen. And we firmly believe that anytime a patient takes a few moments to share their story, that nurse should be recognized. We do that with our other awards programs here that we do kind of in-house. You can see here on this picture, Lexi Cheney is the clinic leader in Clarion, and she receives the certificates from our HR secretary, who's the one that types them up for us, and she gives them to the leader. So then she likes to post it on our internal Facebook page, just for all our employees that are on Facebook to see. And that's just, this was happened to be Ashley's nomination. And so she shared her photo with her on Facebook. If a nurse is nominated 2 times, I'll order them like a small bouquet of daisies, just to say, wow, that's really impressive. That's a 2nd nomination. Great job. I put a little asterisk here called man bouquet. And we have some male nurses, and sometimes the daisies aren't their jam. And so what we do is sometimes I'll create a bouquet of like beef sticks and candy bars. They love that. They absolutely love that. And I think some of the ladies are also like, oh, I'd like some beef sticks and candy bars. But we try to put a fun spin on it for, some of our men that maybe aren't as into the flowers. Our 3rd nomination is much like our 1st and 2nd. They get their daisy bouquet. So we have ordered the daisy bouquets, the green bouquet pin. And so they'll get that as well. And then each nomination after that, they get a pin and a certificate. At that 10th nomination, we have the platinum bouquets. And then we also do a snappy gift. It's a program where I can say I want to award somebody a $20 certificate to go on this online shopping thing and order something for themselves. It's an internal thing that we have. We actually pay with this company to use this, but it's an internal way that we do recognition with employees. And so that's something I've set up for our 10th nomination, just because that's a lot of nominations. We feel like it should be extra special. And then any nominations from 11 on, we do an ishbuck. It's something internal here too, where if somebody has something wonderful to say or appreciates you, they can send you a thank you card. It's called an ishbuck. And then you can either donate it to our hardship, you can spend it in our gift shop, or you can put that money on your paycheck. And then on the 15th, we have a little charm. So if you have a 15th one, it's a little charm. And then that can be worn on your badge as well. And honestly, nobody has hit 20 yet. So I would be open to ideas. Do I make it up as I go? A little bit. But I also like to kind of feel the program out and feel the nurses out to see what's special to them. We think this is kind of fun to be able to build up our program. Here's what we do for our big award ceremony. So again, we recognize them every quarter. We feel like, so like our board members select the winner. If we know the patient or the submitter, we often invite them. We've had a few occasions where, like this lady in the plaid, she was an employee, but she was also a patient. And I know I'm okay sharing a story, but she was extremely ill with COVID. And her nurse, Chris, here took phenomenal care of her, and she just was beside herself about how wonderful he was. And so he was our quarterly winner. I myself, as a DAISY coordinator, I used to do the whole program. So I would coordinate everything. I would share the Barnes story about the foundation. I would tell about the Healer's Touch. I would tell about the cinnamon rolls. But recently we have a really involved, very energetic CNO who's fairly new in her role. And I've been able to transition the ceremony part to her. So I just help her with the behind the scenes thing and coordinating so that everything happens as it should at the ceremony. And her nurse leaders take care of everything at the ceremony, which I personally think is very special because it is coming from our nurse leader. We also invite family of the nurses. This is something that we really kind of like and fun. You can see this bottom picture here. This is one of our most recent DAISY Award winner, and we invited her whole family. That's really special. I think it's great to be able to share with family members or close friends or something of the nurse, how they're making an impact every day. So we've enjoyed doing that. Our cafeteria makes the most amazing, big, huge cinnamon rolls. So we always have cinnamon rolls brought out too, to really honor the meaning of the cinnamon rolls. We'll order a big, beautiful floral vase bouquet. Sometimes I cheat a little bit and venture away from the white daisies, especially like this fall time where you can get the fun fall colors. But the nurses really love having their big, beautiful vase as well. And like I said, our CNO does all that. This is a surprise too. We try to make sure that we keep the winner very secretive so that it's a surprise when we do the ceremony. After the ceremony is done, kind of a special spin that we put also is that the nurse is invited to do a professional photo sitting. And so he or she can get their makeup and their hair done and then go get a professional photo. And we'll use them on a display that I'll show you in our next slide here as well. This was an inspiration that we had found, and we had a local print shop develop it for us. And so these are all our most recent award winners. We have one in our Clarion Hospital, one in our Belmont Hospital. And every time a new quarterly winner is announced and we get the photos, then we will post them up here. So these are the professional photos that our nurses got to go have done. And so they look all, hair done, beautiful makeup, no masks or anything like that. And then beneath it is a snippet of the story that the patient or submitter shared for them. If a nurse is recognized and is in one of our offsite clinics, we will do an individual, pretty significant size, like about 15 inches or so display to have in their lobby with the same story below so that they are recognized where they work. Oops, sorry, got a little click happy. What makes it work for us? I believe having our engaged nurse leaders and CNOs that love celebrating them. I also believe that our commitment and consistency is important. We make sure that anybody that's a piece in the process is held accountable. While I don't necessarily have my hands in the process of all the nominations, I do check in on the process, make sure things are going well. I'm a resource for anybody. And I think that's really important to just have that accountability and really making sure that the process is rolling as it should. This badge right here, you can see we have the, I wanted to show you an example of what we do with our pins. We have a badge where the pins can easily be attached to all around the badge. And so you'll see some nurses walking around the hospital and they have 7 or 8 of these pins on their badges. And if someone loses a pin, they're quick to contact me and say, hey, I lost a pin, the back came off or whatever, can I get a new one? Those are pretty special around here. I think it's, and we also do other programs internally that have different pins, and we'll change up, like each year we do a different type of theme to roll out different initiatives in the hospital. And so we'll have pins that match the theme. So for some reason, pins are just really cool around here. So having a badge that you can put pins onto is important to us. And timely recognition, I can't stress this enough. If you get somebody that shared a story in May and you're here in October and you haven't recognized them, you've got to keep those recognitions as timely and near the event as possible. That goes for any recognition, I'd say. I also believe our culture, service excellence is huge in Iowa Specialty. Staff recognition is another really important piece of our culture as well. This year we developed what we call the B Award. This was actually a bunch of our RNs had seen how other hospitals had done recognition for like CMAs and nursing assistants. And so we stole those great ideas and created our own internal award to recognize those staff that help support our RNs. And so we were able to get that kicked off this year as well. Here you can see this picture is something that our marketing team does from time to time. They'll put out all the nurses on our website, or they'll put the most recent one that was quarterly winner. And we will get so many patients comment and share stories. Oh, I had Amanda for the birth of my baby, or Jessica took great care of me in the hospital. And so it is kind of another feel good that you don't have to do a lot of extra effort on, because the patients do it for you. So, and then the nurses can like share themselves, or on here, our marketing team says, if you know one of our Daisy nominations, feel free to tag them. People would tag them and say, oh, cool, look at you. So just something else special for the nurses. Social media, we take advantage of it, hugely take advantage of social media. We do a live recording on our internal employee Facebook page for the quarterly winners as well. And like I said, we allow those comments to flow freely into our websites for our nurses as well. So that's what I have. Very high level. I talked very fast, I'm sure, shared a lot of information. If you have any questions, you can put like the little raise hand in the chat, and I'd be more than happy to answer questions for you.
Thank you, Sarah. You did a fantastic job. And I really believe that you have a wonderful pin policy, and sharing the badges that they can have their pins on with them, as well as your wall of honors. You guys are just a fantastic example of a wonderful Daisy program, and I appreciate you sharing your best practices with us.
Thank you so much. I'd love to introduce the next person. It's Kelly Blackburn. Kelly, and I love having names spelled wrong, so I apologize. I missed an E in your name, but it's Kelly Blackburn with Unity Point, so I'll let her take over.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Well, I am going to share our program here in Des Moines, so let me pull up my screen. We have a very similar program to what Sarah showed to you. So I will just try to focus on some of the differences. Can you see my screen? No, not yet. How about now? Yes, okay. So I will go ahead and get started. So my name is Kelly Blackburn. I am the Executive Director of Nursing Operations and Clinical Professional Development here at Unity Point Health Des Moines. So Des Moines is made up of 4 different hospitals on 3 different campus locations. So that includes Iowa Methodist Medical Center, Iowa Lutheran Hospital, Blank Children's Hospital, and Methodist West Hospital. And we're all 4 hospitals are a little bit different in their size and patient population, but all of them together make up Unity Point Health Des Moines. I oversee our clinical professional development department, and also am the executive sponsor of our professional growth committee, which together sponsor our DAISY Award program here at Unity Point Health Des Moines. And then my assistant does a lot of work with this program, which I'll talk about here as I go on. So next slide. Maybe, there we go. So our DAISY partnership began back in 2011 when we started our partnered with the DAISY Foundation. And when we saw it, we thought, what an amazing way to recognize our outstanding nurses and the care that they give to our patients and the compassion that they show to our patients. So we've done a lot of things here since 2011. A couple of them is we installed our Healers Touch statues on each of our campuses. Those are the big statues. We've implemented the DAISY Platinum Club. We celebrate the DAISY Leader Award once a year during Nurses Week. And we've also installed a DAISY recognition wall similar to Sarah's wall that she showed you in her presentation. But we have a wall on all 3 of our different campus locations. We also started when we did our DAISY awards, we started on a quarterly basis, but in the last, I don't know, maybe 6 years, we've actually moved to monthly. So we do a monthly DAISY award here in Des Moines because we get a lot of nominations every month. So we get about 60 to 80 nominations. And since starting in 2011, we've had 5,032 DAISY nominations here in Des Moines. We've had 107 winners and 57 Platinum Club members to date. So here is a picture of one of our Healers Touch statues, and I believe this one is actually at Lutheran Hospital in this picture. But they are positioned out in the garden areas of each of our campuses where staff and visitors go out to relax and just have a silent moment. And they're just very beautiful. And then of course they have this story etched on the bottom there. So anybody who's interested can go over and take a look and see what that statue means to our nursing staff. Our CNE and our CEO were very supportive and integral into getting these statues bought and installed on all of our campuses because they support our frontline nurses and wanted to honor them. So a little bit about our DAISY Platinum Club. We started this back in 2021, and we started it to help celebrate our 10th year of partnering with the DAISY Foundation. So similar to what Sarah's presentation said, our DAISY Platinum Awards have received 10 nominations or more. And then of course, this is also a surprise when they receive their award. They don't know about it. But they get a plaque, they get the DAISY Platinum pin, and then their name goes onto our recognition wall as a DAISY Platinum Club winner, and it stays on there forever. So they can point their name out as they pass it on their day to work. Here is a picture of our walls. So this one here is, I got to look at these to decipher which one's which. I believe this top one here is at, this one's at Lutheran. The middle one is our wall at Methodist. And then the bottom one is the one at Methodist West Hospital. So whenever anybody wins any kind of DAISY award, their name goes on to the wall based on the campus in which they work. So if you work at Methodist, your name goes on the Methodist wall, and if you work at West, on the West wall, etc. Except for the DAISY award winner that month, their picture and their story goes on all the walls on all the campuses until the next DAISY award winner is given. Yeah. The Daisy leaders also get their names on the wall. So a little bit about our Daisy nominations. Like I said, we get about 60 to 80 every month, and nominations are received through a couple different ways. So they have the option to submit electronically through our Unity Point Health Des Moines website. We have pamphlets out on all the units at all the nurses stations. And then also when our leaders go around and do leader rounding with patients, they often carry those Daisy Award pamphlets with them. And if a patient says something about how great their nurse is, they'll usually hand them a pamphlet and say, hey, why don't you fill this out and recognize that nurse. So those are some of the ways we get nominations. So once they are submitted and or filled out on a brochure, they're either mailed in or sent via intercompany mail or through the electronic way to my assistant, where she records all of the nominations, and she actually goes through and prints out all of the electronic submissions. Because what we do with those nominations is we send them back to the manager on that unit, and then the manager recognizes each and every nominee at a department meeting or a unit-based counts meeting so that they have that recognition in front of their peers, and they get awarded their Daisy nomination pin too if this is their first nomination. And then of course our third time, if you get 3 or more nominees, you can get the multi-Daisy pin. The winner is selected. First of all, my secretary, Sarah, she goes through and really picks out the really good ones, the beefy ones that have a good story to them. Because sometimes you just get a sentence here or there, which we still share. But to choose the winner, she'll pick out the really good ones with a lot of good content. And then if there's a lot, she'll send them to our professional growth committee, and then they'll narrow them down. And then they'll take the top 3 and send them to our CNE, and our CNE will pick the winner. So ultimately, our CNE always picks our Daisy winner every month. Okay, so when we recognize our Daisy Award winner, it's very similar to Sarah and what she presented. But like I said, we do it on a monthly basis. It's always a surprise. And then the individual who nominated the winner, so the patient or the family, is always invited to read the nomination, as Sarah got to do when she shared her story about nominating the nurse in blank. So Sarah was one of the people that we invited in to read the nomination at one point in time. Would you say back in 2013, I think you said, Sarah? Yeah. So it's held on the unit in front of their peers. We also invite our executive team to come, and we always have representatives from our professional growth committee there as well to help present the award. So when we present the award, we give them their award winner pin, the Healer's Touch statue, which you see the picture there of me handing out the statue, their certificate of recognition. We give them a beautiful bouquet of daisies from our floral gift shop, and then cinnamon rolls. And of course, you know, we used to partner with Cinnabon, but now that we don't have Cinnabon cinnamon rolls here in Des Moines anymore, they get Unity Point Health Des Moines cinnamon rolls, which are equally as delicious. And of course, we always share the stories behind, you know, the Healer's Touch statue and our partnership with the tribes in Zimbabwe, and then give the story about the cinnamon rolls and how they, you know, helped Patrick when he was in the hospital. So always share the stories. And then here's a few photos of our Daisy Award winners. After the ceremony, we always take photos. We usually get a photo with the winner and the family members if they're there, or the patient if they're there. And then of course we get a picture with their team circled around the banner. And then the banner stays on that unit for a month or until the next Daisy winner is revealed. They're also get a headshot similar to Sarah. We make sure that our winners get a headshot, so when we post their picture all over the place, they look lovely. But their picture goes up on our TV monitors within the hospitals. It goes up on our Focus Facebook pages, and our recognition wall, and then in our weekend update that goes out every week, their picture and their story is placed there. And then of course, sent to the Daisy Foundation where it's put on the Daisy website. And then once we have that link, we send it to the winner and then they can share that with their friends and family. Okay, and then here is some pictures of our Daisy Leader Awards. So like I said, we do a Daisy Leader Award every year, and we try to focus that around our Nurses Week celebration. So our winner is selected through a nomination process by our frontline staff. So our frontline nurses are able to nominate their Daisy Leader every year. Again, it's always a surprise, and the leader is awarded the winner pin, their certificate. They get a special healer statue as well, along with the bouquet of daisies and cinnamon rolls to share with their team. And usually the unit does a little bit of extra things. The nurses that of the Daisy Award leader winner usually find something that's special to that leader and adds that into there as well, along with the other things. In addition to the Daisy Award, similar to Sarah's B Award, we do a Rose Award here for our patient care technicians. So Rose stands for recognition of service excellence. And so we do something similar with Daisy, but present a rose instead of a daisy, and do cookies instead of cinnamon rolls, and try to model it kind of close to our Daisy Award for our patient care techs. And that's all I have. So if there's questions, you can raise your hand or put them in the chat.
Thank you, Kelly. We appreciate all of your useful information. I love that you guys both have supporting programs for your support staff, and your wall of honors are gorgeous, and just that you go above and beyond to really make your honorees feel special in a time that's our ultimate goal. I really appreciate that. Do we have any questions, Alex, in the chat box?
We did not have a ton of questions in the chat. Someone did ask if we would be sending the presentations out, and I did say that a follow-up email would be sent after the event. It'll include resources from the event, including the presentations. And then someone actually asked if they could share a resource of their own. So I said that absolutely sending it to you would be best first, and then you can make sure it is shared appropriately.
That is all wonderful. Yes, we will be sharing, like Alex said, a copy of this complete recording as well as the presentations for you all to have and refer back to. The next portion, oh, go ahead.
This is Amy from Mercy, CHI Hope Mercy and Council Bluffs. And I don't know if anybody would like this, but we developed a rubric for when we, because our professional practice council votes on our winners. And so we developed a rubric by using the letters from Daisy. So if I'm willing to share that if anybody is interested in that.
I thought there was a question to ask if we blind our nominations before we send them on. We do blind them before we send them to our professional growth committee, but we do not blind them when we send them to our CNE.
Yeah.
And sometimes if we have somebody, like maybe the nomination might not be super robust, but like we had somebody have 30 nominations once. And so we were like, okay, this person with the cumulative 30 nominations, this person needs to win. Even if this last one is not the best nomination we've ever seen, they deserve to win. So we've done some of that as well.
Thank you all for sharing. That's wonderful feedback.
How they were marketing their award program, from, of course, marketing in high traffic areas to marketing on the unit and department level. And then similar to what Chelsea just shared, really a great opportunity for marketing Daisy is through verbal communication. So with the conversations during daily rounds, during callbacks, whenever positive feedback is received. We also talked about utilizing websites and some blasts Amy Graber was in our room and shared that she had pre-plans little Daisy blasts of information that go out 2 to 3 times a month. She can pre-schedule it about 6 months out. And so it's a wonderful way for that continual education around the award program. But she also mentioned that it helped to double the nomination quantity they were getting just because of that continual awareness around the award program. We had some good conversation around ancillary recognition, so companion programs, what that looks like. We also talked about internal versus external nomination stories. If it was appropriate to accept nominations from patients and families as well as internal team members, if some put stipulations on that and what that looks like. We talked a lot about the resource center. Amy also shared her nomination or information about the nomination rubric she talked about in the main group before we went into our breakout rooms. And we talked a little bit about the selection process, trying to really make voting consistent. So there is that scoring rubric, or there is that established criteria when selecting a DAISY honoree. The blinded process is there. So it's really transparent, but also fair. And there's kind of a reasoning between or around why a nurse is selected each time, and not having any variance really on why someone would be receiving it 1 month versus another. We ended the conversation talking a little bit about conduct eligibility and what that looks like for people if they're checking before having award celebrations, if that nurse is in good standing by definition of the organization. Some do it a little bit or prior to, most do it after the honoree's been selected. So just confirming with the manager or with leadership that it is an appropriate person and an appropriate time to present the award to. And then we also talked about eligibility for travel nurses and what that looks like, who is including their travel nurses under their award program, who might not be, who has presented their awards to travel nurses in the past. And that is something similar to criteria and scoring rubrics that can vary from program to program. It is left up to the leadership's discretion. So what conduct eligibility looks like or travel nurse eligibility looks like, that is going to vary from program to program, whereas the one standard is always that it's licensed nurses that are eligible from the DAISY guideline, but otherwise those nuances to programs is based on the leadership of the facility.
Thank you, Alex. That is wonderful and lots of great information. Again, travel nurses and discussing that as part of your eligibility is fantastic. We do encourage with the rising amount of travel nurses that are out there, and we are starting to partner with travel nursing agencies. Please still share the nomination with your travel nurse, even if it is against your eligibility criteria to honor them. We encourage you to please still give them a copy of that nomination so they may share it with their agency if they are participating in the DAISY program. Jen, would you like to give us an overview of your room, please?
Yes, thank you. I was in the room for first year or new programs. Most of them were brand new, have not been able to present yet, so we went over quite a bit. One thing that we talked about was Stephanie's favorite role as the DAISY coordinator was, of course, reading the nominations and the presentations, which I completely agree with. I think every single nomination I cry, so that was that was my favorite thing. But we also went on to the resource center, and I kind of shared my screen, and we went over some things, some great things to print off and put in that binder, the presentation guide, the things like that, just for them to have for when they do start preparing for their presentations and getting them set up. We went over banners and talked about adding maybe the vertical banner to put in their main lobby and add a QR code so the patients and family members can submit that way in case they forget to grab that nomination form. One thing that was shared was a great idea. Stephanie, I believe you said it's more of a hospice care that your facility is. But she has magnets that she actually provides to her families, and they put them all on, they can put them on the refrigerators. They had the QR code on the magnets. So every one of her patients and families, they already have that as a magnet. So I thought that was a super good idea for partners that are in more hospital settings or things like that. We talked about how to receive nominations, the best ways to do it, marketing, adding those posters, making sure that you share on the social media sites and things like that. But every single one of them were great. We had some really good discussions, just offered a bunch of best practices as far as marketing mainly to help them, because I think there was only 2 in the room that had actually done a presentation. The other ones haven't done one yet at all. So I'm super excited. That was exciting. Kind of want to see how that goes. I'm excited for them. But yeah, it went great.
I just wanted to clarify that we do, I'm sorry, pediatric in-home care for medically complex children.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen, for sharing. Stephanie, I think that's a fantastic idea. I always encourage, I'll have some home health and hospice partners as well. Anybody outside of that hospital setting where the nurse is going in and visiting them in their home, magnets are a fantastic reminder for the patients and their family members who are visiting them that they can say thank you to their nurse. Next, I would like to encourage you all to please be sure and opt in for our text messages and follow us on social media. I noticed that a lot of you were talking about your social media engagement. We have examples of posts in our resource center and templates that you guys are welcome to use. Please engage with Daisy and like our information so that way you all can be sure to receive our quarterly updates as well. There's always packed full of useful information in there. The next step is we will email each one of you all a copy of this recording today, as well as the slides, so that way you can refer back to them if you would like. There should also be a form for you all to complete after the fact. I want to give a special thank you to our presenters and Sarah Eisman for being my co-host, Kelly Blackburn for presenting for us and sharing all of these wonderful best practices, talking with the local Daisy coordinators there and being able to help them with all of their questions. I really appreciate all that each one of you do to celebrate meaningful recognition in the state of Iowa.